The main function of the PNS is to connect the central nervous system to the limbs and organs, essentially serving as a communication relay going back and forth between the brain and the extremities. Unlike the CNS, the PNS is not protected by the bone of spine and skull, or by the blood-brain barrier, which leaves it exposed to toxins and mechanical injuries. The peripheral nervous system is divided into the somatic nervous system and the autonomic nervous system. Some textbooks also include sensory systems. The cranial nerves are part of the PNS with the exception of cranial nerve 2, the optic nerve, along with the retina. The second cranial nerve is not a true peripheral nerve but a tract of the diencephalon. Cranial nerve ganglia originate in the CNS. However, the remaining 12 cranial nerve axons extend beyond the brain and are therefore considered part of the PNS. Specific nerves and plexuses. 10 out of the 12 cranial nerves originate from the brain stem, and mainly control the functions of the anatomic structures of the head with some exceptions. The nuclei of cranial nerves ion 2 lie in the forebrain and thalamus, respectively, and are thus not considered to be true cranial nerves. CNX receives visceral sensory information from the thorax and abdomen, and CNC is responsible for innervating the sternocleidomastoid and trapezius muscles, neither of which being exclusively in the head. Spinal nerves take their origins from the spinal cord. They control the functions of the rest of the body. In humans, there are 31 pairs of spinal nerves. 8 cervical, 12 thoracic, 5 lumbar, 5 sacral and 1 coccygeal. In the cervical region, the spinal nerve roots come out above the corresponding vertebrae. From the thoracic region to the coccygeal region, the spinal nerve roots come out below the corresponding vertebrae. It is important to note that this method creates a problem when naming the spinal nerve root between C7 and T1. In the lumbar and sacral region, the spinal nerve roots travel within the dural sac and they travel below the level of L2 as the cauda equina. Cervical spinal nerves. The first 4 cervical spinal nerves, C1 through C4, split and recombine to produce a variety of nerves that subserve the neck and back of head. Spinal nerve C1 is called the suboccipital nerve, which provides motor innervation to muscles at the base of the skull. C2 and C3 form many of the nerves of the neck, providing both sensory and motor control. These include the greater occipital nerve, which provides sensation to the back of the head, the lesser occipital nerve, which provides sensation to the area behind the ears, the greater auricular nerve and the lesser auricular nerve. See occipital neuralgia. The phrenic nerve arises from nerve roots C3, C4 and C5. It innervates the diaphragm, enabling breathing. If the spinal cord is transected above C3, then spontaneous breathing is not possible. See myelopathy. Brachial plexus. The last 4 cervical spinal nerves, C5 through C8, and the first thoracic spinal nerve, T1, combine to form the brachial plexus, or plexus brachialis, a tangled array of nerves, splitting, combining and recombining, to form the nerves that subserve the upper limb and upper back. Although the brachial plexus may appear tangled, it is highly organized and predictable, with little variation between people. See brachial plexus injuries. Lumbosacral plexus. The anterior divisions of the lumbar nerves, sacral nerves, and coccygeal nerve form the lumbosacral plexus, the first lumbar nerve being frequently joined by a branch from the 12th thoracic. For descriptive purposes, this plexus is usually divided into 3 parts: lumbar plexus, sacral plexus, pudendal plexus. Neurotransmitters. The main neurotransmitters of the peripheral nervous system are acetylcholine and noradrenaline. However, there are several other neurotransmitters as well, jointly labeled non-noradrenergic, non-cholinergic transmitters. Examples of such transmitters include non-peptides, ATP, GABA, dopamine, NO, and peptides. Neuropeptide Y, VIP, GnRH, substance P and CGRP.